Hello. Welcome to our agenda, our February 3rd, 2026 Select Board meeting. Gardner, would you like to start us with the Pledge of Allegiance? Sure. Please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Gardner. Welcome. At this time, can I have a motion for approval of the minutes of January 20th, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let me just say, I'm sorry, Board Member DeJoco is traveling and cannot attend tonight, and he was going to hop on. However, he has no internet service, so I'm sure he'll be watching later on. At this time, we're going to do new public business. The clerk will have her timer. Whoever would like to go up, please go up to the podium, introduce yourself, and tell us what you'd like us to know. Go right up, Bill.
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. I asked before, I guess I've got to ask again because we've had an occurrence. How's the snow budget?
I'm sure that she'll get into that with her closing comments.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Mark?
Well, they're telling me to take it easy. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Mark Zubrek, 9 Glendale Drive. The only thing I wanted to bring up today is that over the last month and a half, there's been some activity in regard to obtaining an abatement for the properties in our town. The abatements are based on the impact of the Beverly Airport jetport. So the manager of the Beverly Airport has been notified every time there's a jet that goes over our community, and the jets travel from west to east, I guess, and they travel right over my dining room. That's where I operate from. People have been calling the airport manager and recording, but they got to a point where the recordings don't matter anymore because there's so many of the jets. And as the last report that was sent to me by the Beverly Airport manager is that we're having at least 7 to 8 planes, jet planes, traveling over our airwaves every single day. That's the average. So I would like to just bring you up to date that there is a process for abatement and valuation of our properties. And I have filed mine, and that's all I'm going to say about that. The assessor, in his wisdom, has been assessing waterfront properties at a much higher rate, and it's based on land, not necessarily the building, because the building you can quantify a lot more. So just for your information, and what I'd like to do is ask the Board of Selectmen, or the Select Board, to address this issue because it is affecting many of our residents in our community, and I'm just one. I have prepared a window of how the airplanes come in and out, and it covers approximately 67% of the area of our community. So we are densely populated, and we have the airport right on the edge, and there are properties that have... Hello?
She's using her phone, yeah.
Sorry. 3 minutes.
Oh,
It's all right, Mark. Finish it up. That's fine.
finish it up. The issue is that we're having an impact and we need your help to make sure that this impact is recognized and our properties, at least the land, is valued down. I have supplied information to the assessor, and hopefully other community members will do the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lauren?
Good evening, Lauren Steves, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 3. I am hoping for some procedural clarification on Article 26 that is coming before the special town meeting. My understanding of the Finance Committee's role is to make recommendations to town meeting on the Select Board warrants. My question is whether the Finance Committee, it's in their scope to change and/or substitute the language of the Select Board warrant article rather than offering that language as a motion to amend on the floor. In this case, the Select Board's red line article removed the residency language entirely, and the Finance Committee's added new language for residency within the Commonwealth, which is a substantive change from the Select Board's warrant. I'm also trying to understand why the new language that the Finance Committee put forward was not redlined, highlighted, or otherwise identified for town meeting members, so it's clear that the article text that we received differed from the Select Board's version. So I'm asking for clarification on whether the Finance Committee is permitted to present unmarked substantive changes to the article language in the warrant, and if not, how is this to be corrected?
Madam Chair,
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
would
Got
you
it.
mind if I gave this a shot, based on our discussion yesterday? So there was a discussion yesterday similar in nature, and I had a very similar question. But as I was educated, what you have in the front section is FinCom's recommendation. It is not the Select Board's warrant. The Select Board's warrant is in the second half. Their recommendation is the language that you'll find under the dark lettering. So whatever section, I'm sorry, you said what, article which?
26.
Article 26. Let me go back to that. Yep, so theirs says the Finance Committee recommendation is as follows, and this is their recommendation. So the language that you're reading that says Section 3 may or may not be the warrant article that the Select Board approved. They're making a recommendation on that, and this is their recommendation. That language is their language, which I understand is allowed. There were several places where language was.
So it doesn't clarify anything. It says,
Okay.
Finance Committee recommendation, we recommend that the town vote to petition the legislator to enact special legislation amending Section 8 of the Danvers Town Manager Act, provided that the legislator is authorized to make editor edits as they deem fit as follows. And then the FinCom's language is in Section 8 of that warrant. So which warrant is town meeting supposed to be looking at and voting on?
The warrant was attached as the second half, which was redlined by the selectmen. What you have in the second half of that starts after page 31, is the actual select board warrant that we approved and redlined for clarity purposes.
This isn't making sense, because this goes to page 31. This is the Finance Committee's, and then this is the Select Board's warrant. They're two separate things, and it doesn't make sense. So if I'm confused, I imagine that there are many town meeting members that are confused, because I have been at almost every single meeting regarding these warrants. So
Jill, do you have anything that you want to
Yeah, I
say?
mean,
Town council?
I'm not going
Yeah.
to debate with Lauren
No.
right now, but I'm more than happy to provide
Yeah.
an answer to you in email. And if anybody, I haven't heard any questions from anybody else, but my office is open, they can contact me.
okay, so I guess,
And then
are
we
we
could
supposed to
put-
bring both of these to town meeting, or just one of them?
Same as when you previously, it was bound, you had the FinCom recommendations on the top and the warrant with explanations underneath.
No, these came together in my packet that I
Exactly, yep,
received.
bring them both.
Okay.
But they came
But
together.
the motion is the FinCom recommendation. We had a meeting with
Which changes the
council,
language.
past
of-
and present, and supported, as Gardner said, we had town council, past and present, FinCom chair, and
I guess I can
moderator
ask
to
on town
have this
meeting floor
discussion.
then. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Tony?
I'm hoping we're really going to start doing something about the airport, really. I mean, we have to. I mean, there's no question about it. Today I was home, okay? Winds were calm. Runway 27 all day long, noisy like crazy. It's the first time I've been trying to stay calm and collective, not call. Today I called Mr. Gabe. He's at home, okay? And basically, I don't know. He didn't give me any answer or anything like that. I'm hoping maybe you folks can give me an answer or help me out in any way because they are not cooperating with us. They are taking advantage of us, okay? I'm being honest with you, okay? This is getting ridiculous, okay? We can't let this go on anymore, okay? We can't play games or whatever. We have to have the select board grow a set of balls, okay? And go after these people, okay? First thing we should do is get rid of the reps. Take your money. That will hurt them the most, okay? Take your money, okay? And get as much as you can out of them. That's the only way you're going to get these people to work with us and do something for us, okay? Because I'm sick of it, okay? I'm hoping that you will take this in consideration and let's get it done. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mark.
Put the clock on, please.
On.
The only comment I have is Lauren has made a very legitimate statement in regard to how these warrant articles were treated by both the Finance Committee and the town select board. Because the townspeople did not even get a chance to contribute to the development or comment on the warrant articles when they were presented to the Board of Selectmen.
Madam Chair, I
Yeah,
take
go ahead.
umbrage
Very
with that.
few.
I take
Go
umbrage
ahead.
with that. We had
We've had
many
many.
nights of public meeting, of which we first heard recommendations by the committee, and then after that, we developed the select board's warrant language, and it was a public hearing and a public hearing, not just a public meeting, and we invited not only residents, members of the committee, but also members of the public to speak on multiple nights.
October 7th.
And you may
it
not
started,
recall
yeah.
it, Mark, but your recall is
December
inaccurate.
16th was
16th, yeah.
scheduled to be
A public
meeting
meeting.
for the public
A public
to
meeting,
contribute.
not a public hearing, and you
Public
know the
meeting.
difference.
Yes.
The 16th was the public
And
hearing.
there were very few comments.
It was a public meeting, not a public hearing.
Hold on, Gardner, I think it was a public hearing.
But the 16th was the
Yeah.
public hearing.
Okay?
Well,
You had every opportunity to get up and speak. You've never shied away from that opportunity to get up and speak.
I never do.
You never do.
But the problem is that you have a conflict that's been identified, and we need a legal opinion of what is the appropriate steps into the town meeting.
Yep.
Because right now, the
We have
town
it.
meeting is just going to go through all the 53 articles.
54.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's
okay.
I missed one.
Good.
And
I will
if I might, because this discussion did come up, and I went back, and if you go on the town website and you go to the warrant section, look at the last special town meeting in 2024, this is the same construct, where the back of the book has the warrant and explanation that the select board forward, the front of the book has the action that's being taken and the FinCom recommendation. This is no different.
What the town meeting members have just identified to you is that there is a conflict.
There is a perception,
Perception.
and we will
Doesn't
get that
matter.
correct. We will
That's
make-
how it's going to be presented at town meeting,
And
it's going to go its own way. I know that, but the town meeting members don't understand that.
I encourage you to look at the format of the special town meeting and the last ones we've had, 2024 and 2020.
I've been at
Two.
all of them.
Look at the format of the book. It's no different than this format.
The problem is that you have something that you need to look into, and I hope the town manager
Yes.
and the board, and the chairman, or chairwoman, sorry,
That's fine.
look into this because it needs a clarification. Thank you.
We'll put it out there, Joe. Thank you. Bill? Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Good evening, Bill McKenzie. I am a town meeting member for Precinct 3. I got some good things to say. I really appreciate the Public Works and what they did with this past storm. They really went out and did a really good job. And on top of that, I appreciate the Danvers Police for following through with enforcing a law that we've had on books for years. towing cars out of our way so we could plow the streets. It made it so much easier, so much less stress, and even the people in the area I was plowing were happy about that. Also, Bill Bradstreet, 60th wedding anniversary. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, yeah.
And he's here with us.
I thought I'd tell
Congratulations,
him,
Bill.
I gave him a dig, that's all. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for the positive. Yeah, they did a good, everybody did a good job. It was a team effort. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. All right, the board is in receipt of an application by Essex North Shore Agricultural and Technical School, 565 Maple Street, the Larkin Center. Jill Sawyer, event coordinator for 2 one-day wine and malt licenses for the following fundraiser events. Comedy night hosted by the Reflective Journey Foundation to support Brian Scott running the Boston Marathon, March 7th, 2026, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., and Hike for a Change, hosted by the Dirty Hands Project to break the silence around mental health, May 30th, 2026, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Who's here to speak? Please go up to the podium, and then we will do our motion separately, board members.
Great. Good evening. I'm Jill Sawyer from Essex Tech. As you mentioned, we are just requesting the 2 one-day liquor license for the 2 said events. They're both obviously fundraisers. Brian Scott is one of our teachers and coaches at Essex Tech, and the Dirty Hands Project is in partnership with a family of a graduate of our class of 2024, I believe, that lost his life to suicide. So near and dear to our hearts, but also kind of taking advantage of the facility that we have at the Larkin.
Okay, board members, do we have any questions with regards to the Comedy Night for the Reflective Journey Foundation to support Brian Scott? Gardner?
Just 2, I'm assuming this went through the normal process and that the board approved this? The school, generally, I think we were told last time you were here, or one of the previous times you were here, that the boards approve all of the fundraisers.
Yep, of the fundraisers for
The ones that serve alcohol.
right, and the ones that are kind of for the school. So these are, yes, they're kind of connected to the school, but these are kind of people that are renting the space for their fundraiser.
Okay. And I believe that we heard from the clerk last time that those public-facing events, that aren't specific school ones.
Correct.
There's a limit to those, but it's the beginning of the year, so I'm assuming this is 1 and 2 of that. I think you said there was 11 a year?
I want to say 30 off the top of my
Oh,
head.
30.
But I
Oh,
would have
okay.
to double
All right.
check that number.
Okay.
So we are trying to streamline, and that's why we're coming to you with the 2 one-day liquor license and efforts that we don't have to join you every month, not that we don't enjoy being here. However, as the Larkin Center kind of becomes more well-known, we are getting more inquiries about events, so I might be back next meeting. So
And
I'll
I'm
try
sorry-
my best to try to consolidate.
One other question, is it Vinwood Caters who's providing the liquor service?
Correct.
Because we know their history in licensing, so I'm
Yep.
comfortable with that. I just wanted to
Yep,
double
so
check.
that's
Thank
who
you.
we've partnered with for all of our events at Larkin is Finwood.
Thank you. I'm all set.
Excellent. Mike?
No, no questions.
Dan?
Through you to the clerk, Maureen, when we heard the superintendent with a request for these liquor licenses, events, et cetera, I thought there was a time frame of end at 9 o'clock to the clerk. Is that not correct?
Off the top of my head, I can't
Because we have
say.
one event at 10 and one at 9, and it
So we're-
seems to me that it was like a 9 o'clock shut-off.
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I would have to look that up.
I think that might be the entertainment license.
That's, the managers indicated might be an entertainment license?
Yeah, I think you're right, Jill. I think-
That was the last time we spoke, was the
That's
last
right, was it
thing
for
Was
the
on
entertainment?
entertainment?
Yes.
So we're under the impression the liquor would be served till 9 and the event would go till 10.
Okay, so you're saying on the first one, the liquor can be served till 9?
Correct.
And stopped?
Yep.
Okay, so on the motion, we'll make that. Thank you for the clarification. I knew I was right.
Excellent. Oh, thank you. So, board members, do we want to make it, we'll do separate motions. Do I have a motion?
Please.
Okay.
We'll make a motion on the first comedy night that, for the March 7th, from 6 to 9 for liquor, and the event can end at 10.
Second the motion?
Yep, second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, Mike's
Still
opposed.
at high school.
Okay, we'll make that noted. Thank you, Mike. The next one will be the Hike for Change, hosted by the Dirty Hands Project to break the silence around mental health.
I move we accept the application as presented.
Okay, any questions? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right, moving right along. Town engineer will provide an update on the Danvers landfill project. And who do we have here to speak tonight?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephen King, Town Engineer for the Department of Public Works. Thank you, Select Board, for having me tonight and allowing me some time to discuss or give a brief update on the status of the landfill soil project, specifically Phase 1, shaping and grading material import. And you'll see as we kind of go through the presentation why we're calling this Phase 1, specifically designating part this area, which is included on the first picture of the cover page, which is what we call landfill area 1, is where most of the project took place over the past 3 years. So just a brief overview of the agenda. I'm just going to cover the site in general, its history, part of the permitting that went through with the project, our soil operations over the past 3 years, how we came up with a lot of our disposal costs, which then tie into our financial summary, and then really the next steps, where we're leading to with this project overall.
This is the next
Yeah,
one.
okay, perfect. So landfill, as you can see here, we have 4 areas. It's roughly encompasses 52.5 acres. It's located off of Route 1, abutting the city of Peabody, right there on the city-town line. It has 4 capped landfills, a recent leaf and brush closure, transfer station, scale house, and a flare station. The site specifically involved with this project was landfill area 1, the largest on the screen that you see right there, or mound 1. The project that we're proposing was to intake about 300,000 tons of material to level out the existing swill and depression area. That's tough to see on the 2D scale here, but on the first picture you kind of see the indentation. Eventually to lead to a potential solar panel project. The goal of the project obviously was, again, to take in for the tonnage for a future PV array, and obviously the benefit is to create an asset for the town of Danvers.
Sorry, I'm ahead of you. It's awkward for it to be behind it.
It's not easy, is it?
Thank you. So just some more background and history. The landfill was capped in the 1980s, mainly in part to a large effort between the town of Danvers, Mass DEP, and the New England Power Company. Specific to this project, well, a lot of people didn't know, it may have earlier when we talked about it in 2020, this was part of a test pilot for a specific type of cap, which led into some of our permitting requirements and our conversations later on in the project. So I'm going to follow up with that in a little bit. In 2020, Public Works and Danvers Electric began a collaborative effort to analyze this process for potentially expanding the power portfolio to include solar energy. And this was one of the main locations, along with all of the school roofs that we talked about during those conversations. Obviously, this is a large-scale project. It affected a lot of things, also in both the town of Danvers and the city of Peabody. So we hold a variety of several meetings over the course in between COVID and out of COVID to discuss the intent and timeline of the project, so everyone had a good understanding of what the town was intaking. And based on that project, we came up with 3 different types of scenarios for soil management or soil disposal at the site. And to evaluate those kind of on an apples-to-apples comparison, we did a 2-year project. We originally initiated a 2-year project to bring in 300,000 tons. So when we're comparing our cost and permitting matrix, we're able to determine if this is going to be a feasible project. And based on those soils, we talked about 3 different types of intake for the landfill. One was what we call non-impacted, so non-contaminated soils, soils that can go on an uncapped landfill versus a capped or out-of-state landfill. Then we did a combination of non-impacted soils, what we call BUDs, beneficial use materials, which those are specifically catch basin cleanings and street sweepings. And then the last option we wanted to compare were the impacted soils, where the fully COM97 S2 soils that are highly contaminated. And as you can see with each of those options, there's a per ton price. That's what typically other landfills were taking in to bring in those soils and deposit them at their own landfill sites. So non-impacted soils NIS were $10 per ton. The NIS plus the buds were ranging from a $10 to $25 per ton. And the impacted soils were ranging around $35 per ton. So evaluating those different costs and potential impacts of soil that we're going to bring to the site, we compared that against what would be required with Mass DEP and permitting. So we evaluated all those three options and weighed them against this permitting matrix, which you see on the slide here, which contained permitting from the EPA, Mass DEP, and our local Conservation Commission. Depending on the type of materials we're going to bring in, what it required us to do some E&F, which is environmental notice form, and an environmental impact statement, which are very costly and very time consuming if we led to doing the contaminated or impacted soils. The non-impacted soils, we still had to do a MEPA filing, we still created the same procedures, but it was going to be more of a fast track pace to be able to get those permitting approval through Mass DEP. And they kind of led us into that decision as well, saying that that's a project that they would like to see permitted for the future post-closure use of a solar array. So eventually we put all these ideas onto one letter of intent and sent it into Mass DEP, where they provided us feedback on that and basically laid out the pathways of what it would cost, not what it would cost, but what the process would be in order to get the project approved. So combining what we had through the permitting matrix and the cost benefits analysis, we did have a few presentations to select board and town manager. Ultimately, it was approved. Ultimately, I think we all decided on moving towards a non-impacted soil project. Also looking at the evaluation of what the existing costs were for other alternate landfills, permitting review, scheduling, and environmental impacts. We all decided that this was the best way to go with the non-impacted soils. Mass DEP Air Waste and Solid Waste Management divisions issued a final decision to the town in the form of an ACO, an administrative consent order, which basically laid out the timeline and the materials that were allowed to be brought to the site and what we had to do for a closeout at the end of the project. So this is basically our guidelines for presenting all of our reporting and testing to Mass DEP and making sure that we're complying with all environmental laws. So this originally went into effect on December 28th, 2021 is when we got our initial permit. Then in 22, we began the project. So a little bit about the soil operations and funding. So in 2022, after we got our approval on ACO, town meeting approved $4.5 million to begin the project. We then bid out and awarded a $3.68 million contract to Charter Contracting Company, who has been our GC for the past 3 years, helping bring in the soils and shape the soils at the landfill 1 area. Site pressures, the contract was awarded in August in 2022. They immediately began work in August and September with stripping all the topsoil from the landfill area, prepping it for the soil intake. We had to build out a new scale. So the existing scale there at the transfer station prior to this project was a 60-foot scale. Because of the size of the tractor trailers, we had to increase it to a 70-foot scale. So we actually brought in a second scale if you've been to the transfer station recently. 60-foot scale doesn't have enough length to measure the entire truck, so we would have had to do 2 measurements for one truck, which leads to some variance and wouldn't be able to get the correct weight of the truck. So we base all this on tonnage. As the project was going and advancing on, it was becoming we saw that we actually had more material that we can bring in addition to the 300,000. So we constantly, every 3 or 4 months, we did a little bit of a kind of a flight survey and analysis of the soils that were coming in, and we realized they were much denser, so they were compacting better than we originally intended. So the consolidation allowed us to bring in more material as the project was continuing on. So then we did another kind of a financial analysis and looked at what would be the cost to extend the project out 1 more year to maybe bring in another 100,000 tons of material. Based on that analysis, we decided at that point with the town manager at the time that it would be a good interest to do an extension. We put in the permit with Mass DEP and they approved us in February 2024. Now, once that February 2024 ACO permit extension was approved, we then had to return back to town meeting. We were appropriated $6.25 million at the May 2024 annual town meeting. And that was basically to originally pay off the original 4.5 authorization that was approved at the 2022 town meeting with the monies that we had taken in and the funding we taken in, and then also provide an additional 1.75 to close out the project. So to make sure that we're closing out the ACO as conditioned. Well, let me know if I'm going too fast. It's a lot of information.
You're doing good.
So as part of that project, to come up with those cost numbers and the overall cost budget, we had to determine what our disposal costs were going to be at the landfill. And I originally talked about varying costs between $10 to $25 per ton. Based on the 11 sites that we evaluated prior to the start of the project, we actually saw that we could charge up to $30 a ton for the soils. And we'd be right about the average with everyone else. So we decided to set our initial mark at $30 per ton for all soils being imported in the town of Danvers. There was a $700 application fee. So we know, learning the soil market, a lot of people request and put in applications. It's very time consuming for us to review the application, their soil data, to make sure it's appropriate for our landfill before providing it to Mass DEP. So there is a small fee of us just having to do a review time for that. And we don't want people just throwing in applications and not getting back to us. So we want them to actually, once they give us an application, they put a little bit of funding in it on themselves, so we know that they're serious about bringing materials to the site. And then initially, we had a $2,200 Saturday operation surcharge in case anyone had a long project going on the weekends, if they wanted to bring materials, the additional cost to have our contractor come in on the weekend and work our scale house and have their equipment on site to move the materials. Over the course of the 3 years, this has obviously changed. The soil market is very variable, almost knowing like the stock market these days. So we did make some changes along the way. We did see between March 2023 and November 2023, we saw a lot of contractors and vendors were putting in more applications than we originally intended, and the packages were being a little bit more complex. So we upped the charge on the application fees to make sure we had enough adequate review time for those applications to bring the soil in. We also saw that a lot of contractors were bringing in what we call a bentonite material. That's a water-based fluid used in deep foundations, excavations, and stabilization. So we had a lot of contractors bringing in soils from, let's say, downtown Boston. And those materials are actually harder for us to move with our equipment. So then our contractor had to bring in additional equipment on top of what they originally bid. So we want to make sure we covered our cost whenever those materials came in. We had enough funding on the backside to be able to fund our contractors to be able to move and shape that material at our landfill. So anytime we saw that designation for soils, we charged an additional $10 per ton. So that went on for about a year or so. We did scale it back at one point. We actually saw the soil markets go up even more because some landfills were closing. So we tested the waters and we brought our soil fee, just our regular soil fee, up to $40 per ton and bentonite handling at $50 per ton. That was really a short-lived window. Not much really happened during that time, so we actually pulled it back in March and went back to our $1,000 per application and $30 per ton for the non-impacted soils and $40 for bentonite materials. And just kind of to wrap up on the financial piece, so originally with the $300,000 tons that we initiated to bring in, we projected a net revenue of about $2.54 million. The current revenue and soils collected, we collected over 380,000 tons of material, and that roughly brought in $11.9 million. So the total new estimated net revenues, where we're still working through the final costs, is about $6.5 million. Total project costs are coming in around $5.4 million once the project is all set and complete. I have a little bit of a scale here that I was tracking each month. So I was tracking our overall expenditures on a monthly basis, plus what our revenue was coming in to make sure that we were tracking to see we were getting enough volume per month to be able to operate effectively. So this chart kind of shows that we're making sure we were on each monthly basis when we got all the reports in, we were reviewing what we had for soil intake, tonnage, expenditures, and potential revenue. which leads us to next steps, which we're almost there. So right now, Public Works and the contractor, we're finalizing the shaping materials on the site and restoration of landfill area 1. Really, at this point, we're going to be coming back in March, April, doing a final kind of a top dressing on top of the site. All the soil and topsoil has been applied to landfill 1. We're reconfiguring the transfer station entryway. So now that we have the 70-foot scale, it's more accommodating for any trucks coming to our site. We're going to kind of reshift and refocus some of the entryway and exitway for the transfer station to create a better flow with the one scale and the scale house that we currently have. So we're working through that. That project should be completed by the end of March. We're on the kind of a timeline for the clock for the consent order. Starting March 1st, we have 90 days to complete the completion report and send in the Mass DEP for their review. And then 180 days after completion of the consent order, we're required to submit another post-closure use permit for the solar array. So they'll be expecting that 180 days after we close out the administrative consent order. Thank you, everyone, for your
Wow.
time. Appreciate it. I'm going to go through too fast, but happy to take any questions, or if you want to contact me, feel free.
Board members, questions? Dan?
No, I've been following this since the beginning, and Stephen's right on top of what happened, and the monies came in as projected. So thank you, Stephen.
Mike?
Yes, thank you. Steve, a quick question. The impacted soil, is it actually have hazardous material in it? It just doesn't make the mark that they're,
For the non-impacted?
I'm sorry.
You're allowed to have some background tracing of it, but it's well below the level of any human health hazard.
Okay. And how thick is this layer? It's 50 feet, 100 feet of this soil?
Oh, well, it's going to vary because of the way that the infill layer is shaped. So you could be at some points 50 to 60 feet. Other points, you're probably around 3 feet.
Yep. Okay. There was another question. Okay. And obviously, the project made some money, so that's good, right? So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Gardner?
Could you go back to the slide? Maybe not. The graph that you had, what's the easement acquisition? It's up on the.
I'm glad you asked. So as part of the project, when we did our initial survey, we determined where the actual property line of, not property line, the layout of what we call Pope's Lane back through there. And actually where everything was originally situated as far as the scale and the scale house, we're actually on another person's property. So, which is the abutting property. So in order to make the project kind of continue, we started paying a little bit of rent towards that to compensate for the damages for use of the property. And then eventually we did work through a deal with the abutter to do a full exclusive easement in perpetuity to use that land for the landfill benefit.
Great.
And that's why it kind of shows a spike of us going up for that one-time payment.
Yeah, and that's what struck me, just
Yep.
obviously it's the anomaly. What was the process of testing? I'm assuming you don't test every truck, you must do periodic testing on what's coming in to make sure that it's.
Yeah, we're required to do periodic testing. So we take in about 2,000. We were taking in about 2,000 tons every day. And we have a certain percentage. I think it was like 10%. We got to test. So everyone has to dump in a certain area for so many piles. We test a pile at that 10%. If that comes in as it was predicted to come in for that specific load or vendor, then we allow them to dump. If it doesn't, when sometimes it didn't, immediately they have to remove the soil off-site and make sure it's clean.
Good to know. And now what would be the relative timeline of the solar array? What's the next steps in the process now that you've leveled I'm going to say leveled the ground, but
They literally leveled the ground.
once you prepared it for the array,
So again, so that leads to now we have 180 days to submit the post-closure use permit, which would be basically the intent and the plan for the solar array, how that'd be set up, and DEP has to go through that permitting process and approve it before we can actually do the construction.
And if I may, Madam Chair, excuse me, we're going to have the Utility Director, Clint Allen, come in and do a next step presentation on the solar array. There's been some changes because of changes at the federal level related to it, so he needed a minute and couldn't join us tonight for it, but he'll be in front of you soon.
Well, congratulations on a very profitable effort.
I know. Thank you, Stephen. A lot of hard work, and you do a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Want you want to stay up there?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much. The board will consider to authorize the members to sign the following document pursuant to the authority granted by us to vote of the May 17, 2024 Danvers Annual Town Meeting under Article 17. We'll do these separately. JBM Danvers LLC, SB Cornerstone LLC, and CCH Exchange Lawrence LLC for the purposes maintaining the sewer facilities pump station at 152 Endicott Street. Board members, any questions on that? Steve, I'm sorry, Steve, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
one,
sure.
too?
Happy to talk about that. So as part of the recent development on Endicott Street, during the initial site plan review, we did find a location that we'd like to potentially use for a future pump station replacement project. Currently, we have one on Endicott Street right in front of where the McDonald's is located, but the way it was initially installed is underneath the high-tension power lines, and it's pretty much into the roadway of Endicott Street. So it's hard for us to access if there's an issue without taking up the entire roadway. During the site plan process, we did find and locate an area on their site that the developer was willing to let us take an easement on for the future pump station. So we worked through that agreement. We came up with their plans. They actually surveyed the plan for us and provided a easement document. And we have now, with its approval, to be able to relocate our pump station on Endicott Street if need be.
Great. Any questions for Stephen? Dan?
None.
Mike?
Yes, please. Steve, can you tell me what each one of these contractors are responsible for?
So these are the current owners of the properties at the Fidelity Building and the new hotel that are located off of our new roadway Chalet Court. So if you've driven on Endicott Street, you've seen the new Fidelity Building, and then the Home to Suites, which is potentially going to be, and then there's an entity that kind of oversees that entire property. So those three main entities are the owners of the property.
Okay, thank you.
Gardner?
No questions for Stephen, but just out of curiosity, the language that the clerk provided for us in a separate document differs than that in the agenda. So I'm wondering if what you read was off the agenda. Is that sufficient for the clerk's purposes?
Madam Clerk?
Or where it doesn't reference Article 17, so on and so forth?
The motions that I provided to you are off of the acceptance of the grant easement document.
Right, what I'm suggesting is the chair read what was a motion based on what was written on agenda item number 5, of which the language is different than the language on the separate document.
The language in the agenda was presented to me by town council
Okay.
in the agenda.
They're just different, I'm just wondering, that's
They
all.
just may vary slightly, but.
Okay. As long as they're fine for you, I'm okay.
Okay. Do you want to make the motion, Gardner?
I thought you read it and made that motion.
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
okay, all right, then I'll make,
Would you like
okay.
to make it,
Proposed
please?
So we're doing number 1 first.
Yes, please. We'll do them
A motion to
separately.
accept the grant of easement from JBM Danvers LLC, SB Cornerstone, and CCH Exchange Lawrence LLC pursuant to the authority granted to us by the vote of the 2024 Danvers Annual Town Meeting under Article 17.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next one we will do is the board will execute acceptances of the following easement documents pursuant to the authority granted. We'll do the first one. Gerald M. Ruthberg, trustee of 161-165 Endicott Street, nominee trust. Said grant of easement is recorded with the Essex South Registry, District of Land Court, as document number 656462, noted on the certificate of title number 75047. Stephen, you want to talk about that?
Sure, and I might
Please.
lean a little bit into the rest of the three.
Yeah.
So Independence Way is actually owned by 3 separate entities, and due to the reconfiguration of the Endicott Street and Independence Way intersection, the town they provided us with new traffic signal equipment. So we own that, but it is on their property. So they're providing us a permanent easement to maintain and operate and repair any of the traffic signal equipment on their property at the Independence Way, Endicott Street intersection.
Questions? Gardner?
No questions.
Mike?
Nope, no questions.
Dan?
Yes, are these easements currently recorded at the Registry of Deeds?
These easements are currently recorded at the Registry of Deeds.
So does that not make them legal?
It will not make them legal until the select board signs off on the documents. Per town
So
council.
is there separate notation made it on the deed? That the board's voted on December, or whatever, where are we?
February.
Thank you.
Jeez.
It will have to be more. Town council gave us this pathway to follow because they were already recorded prior to your signatures.
Wait, that's my question. They're already recorded, so what are we doing here tonight?
It's still the full finalizing the process that we actually accepted and took the easements provided to us. The documents are recorded without your signatures. It basically did not happen.
Okay, I guess.
So do I have a motion? Would someone like to make a motion?
I move to execute the below-described grant of easement from Gerald M. Rothberg, trustee of the 161-165 Endicott Street nominee trust, pursuant to the authority granted to us by the vote of the 2024 Danvers Annual Town Meeting under Article 17. Said grant of easement is recorded with the Essex South Registry District of the Land Court as document number 656462, noted on the certificate of title number 75047.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, the next one. EDF, Danvers Condominium Trust, said grant of easement is recorded with the Essex South Registry District of the Land Court as document number 656672, noted on certificate of title number C160. Stephen, you want to tell us about that, please?
Yes, this is just the second part of the three-way ownership of Independence Way. So it's so as you drive into the driveway, they're, I think, pretty much the middle section of the roadway. So it's three different owners, so each owner owns a third of the street. And so that way we have to provide this three separate motions to approve the three separate documents.
Okay. Dan, questions?
No,
Mike?
No questions.
Gardner?
No, I was down there yesterday. It's an unusual configuration. It's like almost like a rumble strip island in the middle.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion, please?
I motion to execute the below-described grant easement from EDF Danvers Condominium Trust pursuant to the authority granted to us by the vote of the 2024 Danvers Annual Town Meeting under Article 17. Said grant of easement is recorded with the Essex South Registry District of the Land Court as document number 656672, noted on certificate of title number C160.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Mall at Liberty Tree LLC, said grant of easement is recorded with the Essex South Registry District of the Land Court as document number 656489, noted on certificate of title number 76627. Stephen? Again?
Yes, it's the same as previously discussed. This is the third entity that's involved in the easement document, so we're required to approve this as a separate motion as well.
Thank you. Dan, questions?
if I may, just turning to the second page here of this letter dated November 26, 2025, signed by the town clerk for Article 17. It makes reference to 2 easements, but we're just granting now 3 easements.
So in the record for the previous town meeting, we had two appendices to that, kind of showing it's kind of like 2 easements, one for the pump station and one for this area. Although that area is separated into 3 separate entities.
So Article 17 was our town meeting article that we voted on the 2 easements.
On a pump station easement and the easements to take this area on the intersection.
Right, and then that goes to the 3 owners. Okay, thank you.
Good. Thanks for the clarification. Gardner?
No questions?
Mike?
No, no questions.
All right, do I have a motion?
Motion to execute the below described grant of easement from Mall at Liberty Tree LLC pursuant to the authority granted to us by the vote of the 2024 Danvers Annual Town Meeting under Article 17. Said grant of easement is recorded with the Essex South Registry District of the Land Court as document number 656489, noted on the certificate of title number 76627.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Maureen, in the corner.
Bill, did you have a question? All right, we'll allow it. Go right up.
About anything.
Again, Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. I read out of number 6, and I read what's here. I would have appreciated, and I don't know if anybody else cares, a little description of the area rather than just what's listed here. Steve did a very good job of getting that out, but for someone who has one of these to go by, it doesn't say where, what. I know it would add another side to the paper, but it would have been nice if there was more information about all of these easements. I'm old. I need more information to help to understand.
You can still drive into the mall, it won't matter.
I understand that. It was just paint a more thorough picture of what these few words say. That's all I'm asking.
Thank you.
And again, just tell me you're working on it.
Working on it, Bill.
No, we're done, we just signed everything.
We signed everything.
Well, for the next
For
time.
next
then.
time, okay. Stephen's done a great job. Anybody else have any questions? Wally, any questions or anything? All right. I think that's it, Stephen.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the town manager will report to the board on various items of interest. Here we go.
Do we think is this one working? Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. He brought this other one. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to start with some of the questions that came up last time. We'll start with snow and ice. Post-storm, obviously, this is the biggest snowstorm we've had in a number of years. Welcome to my first year as town manager. So I think our DPW crew did a fantastic job. It was a very long duration storm. At the height of the storm, we had about 80 to 90 pieces of equipment operating. Anyone who's involved in snow operations know that you may start with 80 or 90, but things continue to break as the operation goes on. It really is a long process, and I really appreciate all the work of the folks involved. As you know, we did have a parking ban, and then the DPW did continue to do post-storm cleanup, including clearing of the downtown. So we also appreciate the cooperation of the residents for not parking, and for also that night that we needed to remove some snow for widening the roads and in the parking spaces. We appreciate the cooperation of all the residents, the police, and of course to the DPW team. We are working on finalizing the numbers from these most recent events, but we can definitely project that we have fully expended our snow budget for this year. And we are working currently to identify how we're going to absorb that difference in either the existing God bless you, DPW budget or the general fund budget. So those numbers obviously will come before you in the future, specifics. The dredge revolving fund was the other question. Bless you. Sorry. It's okay. There was questions last week when we talked about the slip fees regarding the dredge revolving fund, so I just wanted to bring those numbers to you. The one question was the debt service from the 2008 dredging completed? Yes, we concluded that in FY23, and those debt service payments were paid out of this revolving fund. And the current balance is approximately $130,000. And Gardner had mentioned, kind of the next project, the permitting and feasibility study costs, and those have been, we've been paying those out of the $20,000 that have been moved into the fund from town meeting. So we are paid up for 2008, and we are queued up moving into this next project. Dog registration is open. State law mandates that all dogs over 6 months old be registered annually in compliance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 140, Section 137. All dogs must be licensed by the town. Information on fees, registration is available on the town website. A couple of things that we've been involved with recently. Today, Stephen and I and Representative Sally Kearns attended the North Shore Water Resilience Task Force meeting. I plan on bringing you quarterly updates from the task force now that I'm involved as we move forward. They've been working together under a charter for the past 3 years, and that charter kind of came up for review in September. So today we spent most of the time discussing updates to the charter and agreements for moving forward. There's some progress happening in the subcommittees. Stephen sits on the lower sub-basin subcommittee, and that is working specifically in our area. And, the takeaway really from today is you see over 20 communities and additional stakeholders working together towards a shared solution on water. And it's definitely a unique environment for the conversation to be happening. And I'm happy that Danvers is at the table. Rodney and I last week attended a Department of Local Services financial policies training. The select board adopted our current financial policies in 2019. We learned some important new things and plan to bring some forwarded updated policies to you all in the next fiscal year. So more to come there. Upcoming events, HRIC has their Black Excellence, a tribute to Black film, this weekend, February 7th, 5 to 8 at the Maple Street Church. Information is posted on our website. And while we have special town meeting on Monday, we are already preparing for the budget process and annual town meeting dates upcoming. We discussed and I shared with the board these dates, so I wanted to share them with the public. The select board budget review will be Saturday, March 7th. The select board warrant review will be Tuesday, April 7th, and Thursday, April 9th, if necessary. The finance committee budget review is Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, April 13th, 15th, and 16th. And the finance committee warrant review is Monday, April 27th, Wednesday, April 29th, and Thursday, April 30th, if needed. And that will lead us up to an annual town meeting on Monday, May 18th. And finally, I just want to say thank you to Ann Frades, who served this community well for over 30 years. We all wish her the very best in her retirement. She was a force behind the town manager's office. I want to personally thank her for welcoming me in, giving me guidance and wisdom that only she could give to me, and I really truly appreciate that. And she was a very special part of this community, and I really just want to wish her well and say thank you, and I'm sure the board and everyone in this room joins me.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, the board will consider consent calendar items as they appear. Everybody take a look at that. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, so correspondence, select board, new business, previous new business, updates, select board closing comments. Mike, you want to start?
Sure. Through you, Madam Chairperson, to the town manager. I know we had some name tags. I think I saw them about 3 weeks ago.
That was Ann's final project.
When are they getting put out?
Haven't been around, but they'll get dispersed and we'll put a policy around it.
Okay. Second question. Did you happen to deal with the time change for inspections at inspectional services?
There has not been a policy change.
We can have her look into that, yeah.
Okay. On the airport, on the Danvers committee that I had brought up and were pushing forward, my initial thought was that the airport committee on the Danvers side was a fact-finding group, not a voting committee, and it would be made up by concerned residents and hopefully some of them are pilots and people that are interested in that. And I know at the last meeting you mentioned.
I'm just waiting for feedback.
Yeah, but you had mentioned that myself and possibly Gardner wanted to be on the committee. I don't need to be on it, I'm not a pilot. I like the airport, so I might not be any good to them. I'm just being honest. So I think it needs to be people that are involved and interested in doing the hard work to back up our two commission members there with all the possible information that could be located throughout the whole world, whatever best would fit us if we don't already have it. I just wanted to say that. And secondly, I wanted to know if we could get Todd and Bill to come in for an update on our agenda. He had put forth a safety plan in a meeting that I went to. It was really good, and I thought he could run through that really quickly. I had sent an email to Gabe, the manager, with some thoughts on some extra safety items, but I have not heard back. Those are just the things I want to talk about. Thank you.
No, good. And what, the airport will be coming back to us.
Yeah, I think his request is for the commissioners, though.
Commissioners, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Please.
So we'll have that. Thank you, Mike. Gardner?
On that same subject, at the last meeting, the town manager did forward a memorandum or a discussion, a kind of a template of what the commission would look like and who would be part of it, and asked for our feedback. I have provided some feedback as well. Based on that document, I think we got an email as well. I also want to thank Ann. Came to the retirement. It was nice to see her. A lot of old school people joined us that day. A lot of people who worked with her over her just under 30 years. 29, it would have been 30 this summer, I believe. But Lenny came, Diane Norris came, Joe Collins came. A lot of people who had worked with her over the years came to show her the respect of everything she gave to this town. I shouldn't say, I received an email in a manner that I believe maybe the other members did as well today regarding trailers, habitable trailers outside of Target. And I'm assuming that the town manager will have the police look at that and maybe provide us with a update, just what's the zoning laws about, can you have a habitable trailer someplace? And I think I know the answer. I don't want to presume the answer. I want to know what the zoning says.
Madam Chair, if I'm happy.
Yes.
This was obviously came up today. Yes, thank you. We received a complaint in the town manager's office. Also, the police responded, as well as, so then we talked about it among our senior team. So the zoning laws in particular, as you said, the zoning law, we can hold the entity who owns the property accountable for removing the trailer. So our business would be with Target, the entity that owns the parking lot, and the entity, Target, is responsible for asking them to move on. Our police are obviously available to assist in a no trespass order and all the above. So police were working with Target today, and just to follow up and make sure that we're clear with all of the entities in that area, a zoning letter will go out to make sure they have 30 days to get into compliance.
Okay. And just for clarity, is it Target owns the parking lot or the mall who owns the parking lot?
That's a good question that I don't.
Okay, I'm just wondering. I
But
didn't
we
know.
were working with Target.
Okay, very good. We also just all got a snail mail email from George Saluto. I want to acknowledge it, although I haven't had time to digest it. I will be looking at it. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan, do you want to say it? Then you can come back after me again.
Thank you. Couple of questions through you to the town manager, perhaps. At town meeting, if town meeting votes not in favor of the FinCom's recommendation, and there's been no amendment made, what happens to that article?
I think I'd need clarity on what the question is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, very simple.
If they vote no.
If there's a
Not
FinCom recommendation,
Yep.
of which all of them were in favor of the articles as presented, and town meeting says no, what happens to that particular article? Does it die? Can it be brought up for reconsideration, and if so, by whom? Can an amendment be made to put back in the language that was deleted? Or none of the above?
I don't want to get
If I
it wrong,
might,
but I will
I've
get
gone
you an
through this
answer.
specific scenario with the town moderator, and she
And I'd
will,
like to hear from the manager and the town moderator, if you don't mind.
sure, if you don't
Thank
want
you.
the answer.
I will happily follow up
Thank you.
with you after speaking to the moderator.
I can't practice
Yeah, let
law.
us know,
None of us
Joe,
here
so-
can practice law, so please.
Thank you, Gardner, for trying. Yep. What else, Dan?
Article 31, there's 12 paragraphs or items under Article 31. Are we to vote on everything as one, or do we vote on each of the 12 items?
And that's a question for the moderator.
And if we're voting on the whole thing, any amendments made, are they made as a group or individual applying to the specific letter number? They're all lettered.
So that will be at the discretion of the moderator as running the meeting, so I will get back to you there.
Well, it'd be good to know beforehand.
Yeah,
So when
yeah.
I'm making amendments, I know how to proceed. Thank you for bringing up Article 26 tonight. The language that was put back in needs to be discussed. I'm sure there'll be numerous amendments on that particular article. As I read the FinCom recommendation, I think there's probably 3 articles that particularly apply to the town meeting members, and language has been left out, so hopefully the town meeting members have followed through and know what they're voting on when they get to their votes. And that's in the Town Meeting Act. And there's certainly 2 or more Town Manager Act items where language has been added. So I'm sure those will be discussed as well. So I guess it'll be a long night on the Monday night. But I would like some clarification on my first 2 questions
Yep, no problem.
prior to town meeting.
I'll have it tomorrow.
Thank you. That's
Could
it.
I ask a question based on Selectman Bennett's question, Select Board Member's question?
Good, Gardner.
If any of the articles fail, is this going en masse? Is it all of them have to pass for us to then move it forward or not? There's 54 articles, well, actually 53 because the citizens,
Well, the first 2
54.
don't count either.
Right, okay. So, thank you, 51, whatever it is. Do all of them, are we treating this as a whole? Or can, if for some reason, in a Dan's scenario, we don't go with the FinCom recommendation, that means that nothing changed in that section, because unless there is an amendment that says do something, saying no to a no, to something doesn't pass it. It's not an automatic yes, as it were. But the question is, and I don't know and I don't know what the
That's
feeling of
kind
the
of what I'm
board
leaning to,
is.
yeah.
Is it all 51, 2, 3, 4, right, 51 have to pass for us to then move that special legislation forward? Or do we move special legislation forward with just the things we pass?
Find out.
We'll find out
Okay.
about that, too. Yeah, good questions. Anything else?
No, and I think that, I'm sure the moderator will be prepared to speak to it at
She
the beginning.
absolutely will.
All right, so it's going to be a long meeting, for Monday, so everybody be prepared, maybe get there early. Everybody read through their materials. Lauren, thank you for bringing that up. We'll talk with the town manager about that, too, and town council. I wanted to say thank you to everybody with the snowstorm. It was a good team effort. I wanted to also say it was really nice. I call it a farewell coffee for Ian Freitas. 3 town managers over 30 years. Thank you to Madam Clerk and her efforts and team pulling it all together. It was lovely. It was nice to see everybody. You're right, Gardner, Sally, and even Dave DeLuca. Everybody, Joe Collins. That was really nice. I also want to say our hearts go out to the loved ones for 36 MacArthur Boulevard. That was really sad. Please check your smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors, too. And then I did get the correspondence, too, about the trailer on the property, so we'll look into that, have the police chief look into that some more, and the town manager. And also, on a good note, Saturday, March 7th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. is the pancake Festival at the high school. They're looking for volunteers. You can contact Melanie Little to volunteer. Also, high school students, you can grab some community service there. And with that being said, I think that's it. My Harley Quinn is going to be 4 months old in a few days. I'm excited about that. And Dan, would you like to close out?
Thank you. If you see a vet, please thank him or her for their service to our country.
Oh, and one more thing I forgot.
Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to, I forgot to ask the clerk, do you have any updates about the elections, too? That's very important.
Thanks for asking, I do. So nomination papers are available in my office down the hallway. I've got the book already. Please come and see me if you're interested. The election details are on the website. I've got some copies in the back of the room if anybody wants to pick one up. And I wanted to remind folks that on Tuesday, we will be caucusing one seat in each of Precinct 2 and Precinct 4. The caucus will start at 7 p.m. for those precincts. So if those folks could show up a little bit early, and then if there are any interested people who live in Precinct 2 or 4, they should arrive 6:45-ish to present at caucus. And then I did also give you, just to remind you, I gave you a new updated Select Board schedule. There are 3 elections this year. The May election will move our Select Board meeting to the Thursday of that week. And then the same scenario in September and November. So the meeting on September 1st, which is Election Day, would move to September 3rd. And the November 3rd meeting, due to the state election, will move to November 5th. And then the local election on May 5th, which is a Monday, we are going to move that to, oh no, that's a Tuesday. Tuesday, May 5th, the election. And then we're moving the Select Board meeting to the 7th of that week on the Thursday.
Terrific. Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Dan. Want to say it one more time?
Thank you to you. Say thank you to all the veterans.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.